Valari stood near the edge of the crowded space market, her purple eyes watching the passing people with quiet sadness. She didn't belong. She never had. On her left wrist was a small black circle, the soulmate indicator. In her culture, it only glowed when someone touched their true match. For most people, it lit up when they were young. Some even found their soulmate as children, but Valari? Hers had never glowed. Not even once. She was called broken soul by others. Some whispered she didn't even have a true mate. That maybe somehow she had been born wrong. She had learned to stay quiet and keep her head down. She didn't believe in dreams anymore. But that day, everything changed. The space market was busy with noise, color, and people from many planets. Ships flew above, and robotic sellers shouted deals from every corner. Valari held her small basket of herbs close to her chest. She only wanted to buy what she needed and leave. Suddenly, the crowd shifted. A group of armored patrol officers marched in, pushing people aside. Someone shouted. Another person tripped. The crowd panicked. Valari was caught in the wave of people running, trying to escape the patrol. She stumbled, nearly falling. And then it happened. Someone grabbed her arm to steady her. It was a hand-warm, rough human. Their skin touched for just a second. Her heart froze. A burning heat spread across her wrist. Valari looked down in shock. The black mark on her arm was no longer black dot. It was glowing red. Glowing bright. Alive. She gasped, frozen in place. Her eyes slowly looked up to the one who touched her dot. It was a human man. Tall, broad-shouldered, with messy brown hair and tired. Blue eyes. He wore a simple maintenance worker uniform and had a tool belt around his waist. He looked just as surprised as she was. But before either of them could speak, the crowd pushed again. The human let go and was pulled away by the moving bodies. Valari stood there, her hand still raised. Her wrist glowing dot. She whispered in disbelief. That's not possible. He's not even from my species. She returned home that evening in silence. Her heart was pounding, her mind racing. She looked at the red light on her wrist again and again. It didn't fade. This wasn't a trick. This wasn't a dream. Her soulmate indicator had truly activated. She lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, replaying the moment in her mind. How could a human be her true mate? Her people had always said humans were too different, too wild, too emotional, too unfit to bond through soul marks. They called humans soul blind. They weren't supposed to connect that deeply. But her wrist didn't lie. The next day, Valari returned to the market. She didn't care about food or supplies. She had only one goal: find him. She retraced her steps, checked every corner, every stall. She even asked a few vendors if they had seen a human with blue eyes and a tool belt. Most just laughed or shrugged. One vendor said, "A lot of humans pass through. They all look the same," but she didn't give up. She couldn't. She sat on a bench near where it happened, watching everyone who passed. Her eyes scanned every face. Hours passed. The sun above shifted. Still no sign of him. She looked at her wrist again. The red glow was softer now, but still their dot was it fading because she was far from him? Meanwhile, Jace the human man stood in a dusty workshop on the edge of the colony. He tried to focus on repairing a broken circuit board, but his hand kept shaking. He had seen her face, that alien girl. Those bright eyes, that soft skin, and the strange red light. What the hell was that? He muttered to himself. He wasn't from this planet. He had taken this job just to pay off travel debt. He didn't even plan to stay long, but now something was different. Since that touch he felt a strange energy inside. Like something had changed in his body. His chest felt tight. His thoughts felt full. That moment haunted him. Her touch, her expression. The way she looked at him like he was everything. Jace didn't know it yet, but from this day forward, nothing in his life would ever be the same. The moment their skin touched. Two fates changed, but only one of them knew it. Valari sat alone on the rooftop of her building, staring at the stars. Her wrist still glowed faintly, pulsing like a heartbeat. It hadn't stopped since the touch. The wind blew through her dark silver hair, but she didn't feel cold. "Not tonight. I touched my soulmate," she whispered. And he just walked away. Below, the lights of the colony flickered, and the market buzzed with life, but her world had narrowed to one memory, his face dot in another corner of the colony. Jace was wiping grease off his hands after a long shift. He had already forgotten the face of the girl in the crowd, but he couldn't forget the strange heat that rushed through him when he grabbed her arm. And now, every time he blinked, he saw something red like a light that wasn't really there. "What the hell is happening to me?" he muttered. He took a sip of recycled water, trying to shake off the feeling. But deep inside, something had started. A quiet pull, like a voice calling his name. From far away, Valari wasn't sleeping. Not anymore. She spent the next day wandering the colony. Her steps were quiet, but her heart was loud. She didn't know his name. She didn't know his job. All she had was a memory, a warm hand, tired blue eyes, and the soul mark that had never glowed until that moment. She stopped in front of the worker zone's large buildings where off-world humans were usually housed. Maybe he lived in one of them. Maybe she had passed him and never noticed before. And yet, the moment she touched him, something inside her broke open. Something she didn't even know she had been missing. Jace, meanwhile, kept trying to ignore the strange dreams. Every night now, he saw a girl's silver hair, glowing wrist, wide eyes full of something between fear and wonder he had never seen her before that moment in the market. Or had he? The dreams became clearer. He felt her thoughts. He heard her voice. He saw flashes of memories that weren't his flowers in a forest. A child alone, the cold judgment of others. He woke up sweating, heart racing. "Who are you?" he whispered into the dark. Back on the colony streets, Valari made her way to the docking station. It was a risk. She wasn't allowed near human patrol zones without permission. But something kept pushing her forward. Feeling, a bond, a truth she couldn't deny. Her soulmate was human. And she was going to find him, even if the universe said it was wrong. Even if her people called it unnatural. She stepped through the gate into the human sector. And for the first time in her life, she didn't feel afraid. Inside the worker barracks, Jace was fixing a panel when he heard a soft voice behind him. "Your wrist. Does it burn at night?" He turned. There she was. Her voice was calm, but her eyes were filled with a storm of emotion. He opened his mouth, unsure what to say. She stepped closer and raised her glowing wrist. "Mine hasn't stopped since you touched me." Jace looked down at his own wrist. There was no mark, no light. But he did feel something, a strange warmth right in his chest. A connection, a truth. "What are you?" he asked quietly. Valari answered, voice trembling. "I'm the one fate gave to you." Asterisk, the colony lights flickered in the night. But her heart burned brighter than ever. Valari stood just a few steps from him. The human who unknowingly awakened her soul. She had crossed Forbidden's gates, walked into the human zone, and faced cold stares, all for this one moment. And now, he didn't even remember her. Jace blinked as he stared at her. He saw an alien girl with silver hair and wide eyes. But nothing clicked. Nothing felt familiar. "I'm sorry," he said, rubbing the back of his neck. "Do I know you?" Valari's breath caught in her throat. She lifted her wrist. The red glow burned softly. "You touched me at the market. My soulmate indicator, it activated." Jace stared at the light, confused. "Listen, I don't know how your people work," he muttered. "Humans don't have those light things." Valari lowered her hand slowly. "So, you really don't feel it?" she asked, voice soft. Jace shook his head. But something inside him whispered he was lying to himself. Later that night, Jace sat alone on his bunk, staring at his hands. He kept remembering her voice. That desperate hope in her words. That light. On her wrist. Why does it haunt me? He muttered. Then he looked at his chest. Right above his heart, the skin had started to change. A faint shimmer, almost invisible. He touched it, and he heard something. A whisper. A wordless echo in his mind. It wasn't from him. Valerie didn't go home. She COULDN, single quotes T. Instead. She sat behind the human worker quarters, knees pulled to her chest. The glowing red mark on her wrist flickered like it was dying. What if he truly feels nothing? She whispered. Her people warned her soulmate bonds with humans could break a person. Mentally, emotionally, even physically. The deeper she bonded, the more it would hurt if he rejected her. But the moment they touched, it had felt so real. So warm. So complete. She wasn't ready to give up. Not yet. The next morning, Jace found her waiting at the edge of the complex. He didn't know why, but he wasn't surprised. You again? He said. Valerie looked up, tired but calm. Do you dream of me? He froze. Yes, he did, but he lied. No. She smiled sadly. Your eyes say otherwise. He hesitated, then asked quietly, why do you care so much? Valerie stood, brushing dust off her robe. Because I've waited my whole life for that light to glow, and it only did. When you touched me. She took one step closer. I don't want to force you. I just want to know if there's even a chance you feel it too. Jace didn't speak, but his hand, almost without thinking, reached out and touched hers, for the second time. Their skin met. And this time, something different happened. Valerie's eyes widened. The red light flared brighter than ever before. But that wasn't all. Suddenly, Jace gasped and pulled back. I saw something, he whispered. It wasn't a dream. It was your memory. Valerie stepped closer, shocked. You felt it too? He looked at her, fear and wonder mixing in his face. I saw you as a child, sitting alone under a silver tree. Tears filled her eyes. That was my hiding place. When the others called me broken. The bond was real. It was beginning, but neither of them knew. Others were watching. From the shadows, two cloaked figures whispered, she's bonding with a human. The council must be told. It began with a dream, not hers, his. Jace stood in a silver forest. The trees shimmered like moonlight, their leaves glowing softly. In the center stood Valerie, young, frightened, and alone. She turned toward him, eyes full of quiet hope. Don't leave, she said. He woke up breathless, heart pounding, sweat dripping down his neck. That memory. Wasn't his. At the same moment, Valerie jolted awake in her tiny room across the colony. She had felt it too. His fear, his confusion, his pain. The bond was deepening. Back in the high caste chambers of the alien city, the council sat in a cold circle of stone. A messenger stood before them, trembling. She is bonding with a human, he said. The mark burns red. One of the elders hissed. Another slammed a metal staff. Unnatural, impossible, dangerous, another whispered. We must act before the bond becomes permanent. A cold voice, belonging to the oldest among them, gave the order, bring her in, at once. Valerie didn't wait to be taken. She went willingly. She stood before the council, head held high even as her people stared at her like she was diseased. I did not choose this, she said. The bond chose me. You expect us to believe a human is your match? One elder scoffed. His touch awakened my mark, she answered. He saw my memories. I saw his pain. You speak of forbidden things, the elder barked. Do you even know what you are risking? A bond like this could break your mind. Valerie's voice trembled, but didn't fall. Then let it break me. I would rather feel something real than stay empty forever. Meanwhile, Jace had begun to change. He used to sleep through alarms, now he woke with the stars. His body felt stronger, his senses sharper, but his emotions? A storm. He kept seeing Valari's face. He heard her voice even when no one spoke. He could feel when she was sad. Or scared, the other workers noticed. "You good, man?" One asked. Jace just stared at the wall. "She's in pain." Back at the council chamber, Valari was given a cruel choice: sever the bond, or be exiled forever. She was given 1 hour. She sat alone in a cold chamber, her hands shaking. Sever the bond, they said, as if it were a thread to cut. But how could she cut something that now lived inside her? And then the door creaked. He walked in. Jace. No guards, no warning. Just him, standing there, as if nothing could stop him. Where is she? He had growled at the outer gate. "I'll tear this place down if you don't take me to her." Valari stood up, stunned. "How did you get in?" He didn't answer. He just reached out and touched her wrist. The light exploded blinding red, lighting up the walls. Everyone outside the chamber saw it. Even the council. "Too late," one elder whispered in horror. "The bond is complete." Inside, Valari's tears fell freely. "You came for me." Jace pulled her close. "I don't know what this is, but I know one thing: I don't want to live without you." In that moment, they both knew, whatever happened next, they would face it together, even if the entire galaxy stood against them. Asterisk. It wasn't just love anymore. It was survival. The moment Jace touched her inside that council chamber, the glowing light had burst like a flare into the skies. Every sensor across the colony picked it up. Every elder, every leader, every watchful eye saw it. Valari and Jace had become the first bonded pair between two different species. And now everyone wanted to break them. Guards rushed in seconds later, shouting in 2 languages. They grabbed Jace by the arms and ripped him away from Valari. She screamed, but it was drowned out by alarms and electric sparks flashing around them. "Do not let them touch again." A council elder barked. "If the bond strengthens further, it may become permanent." Jace was dragged through metallic halls, thrown into a cold chamber, and locked behind an energy field. His head throbbed, but not from pain, from distance. He pressed a hand to his chest. It hurt, not like a wound, like something was missing. "Valari," he whispered. He didn't know how he knew, but she was hurting too. Across the city, Valari lay in a glass room surrounded by scientists and priests. Wires clung to her skin, and her arms trembled as she reached for someone who wasn't there. Her bond mark glowed dim now, flickering like a dying flame. "She's growing weak," said one observer. "Their bodies are not compatible. If the bond continues, it will kill them both," another replied coldly. "Then sever it," a third whispered. But the machines monitoring her brainwaves told a different story. Each time her heartbeat dropped, a spike appeared. Each time her mind quieted, a memory returned. One name kept flashing on the screen. Jace. Back in the cell, Jace paced. Then he stopped. A sharp pain stabbed his chest. He dropped to his knees. It was like someone had set fire to his lungs. He pressed his forehead to the floor, gritting his teeth. Then he felt her. Not a voice, not a sound, just a thought. "I'm still here." And that was all he needed. At the same time, a young alien medic entered Valari's room. She was quiet, soft, and different from the others. "My sister bonded with a non-traditional match once," she whispered. "They exiled her. She died alone." Valari barely turned her head. "But you," the medic continued, "have someone who's trying to reach you. And I won't let them take that away." She tapped a button under her robe. The locks on Valari's cuffs snapped open. 30 minutes later, explosions rang across the eastern tower. Smoke rose. Alarms screamed. Jace kicked through a security gate. eyes wild, searching for one face. And then he saw her running down a hallway, glowing red, hand extended toward him. They collided in the center, arms wrapping tight, light from their bond blazing like a supernova. The guards froze. No one could move. The walls themselves seemed to hum with energy. The two beings stood together, no longer just human and alien, but something new, something unbreakable. And then they ran into the wilds, into the unknown, into freedom. Behind them, the colony shook in panic. But ahead of them, the stars waited. Asterisk. The stars never looked so close or so dangerous. They ran through broken walls, across glowing plains, over the roots of trees older than their species. Valari's breath hitched, her legs trembling, but she didn't stop. Jace never let go of her hand. Behind them, alarms echoed like thunder. Security drones flew overhead, searching, scanning, hunting. Every speaker in the city screamed, "Alert! Unauthorized cross-species bond escaping sector." But even the machines couldn't keep up with the impossible, because as they ran, they started to move the same, breathe the same, think the same, feel the same. They collapsed near a cave just before sunrise. Valari's knees hit the soft alien soil first. She gasped for air, sweat dripping down her temple. Her wrist still burned with red light. Jace dropped beside her, chest heaving. For a long time, neither spoke. Finally, he looked at her and said only one word. "Why me?" Valari turned her head, eyes glassy. "I asked myself that too. Every day since you touched me." She held up her wrist. "I waited my whole life for this to glow. I stopped believing it ever would. Then one touch from you, and it lit like fire." She paused. "Maybe it's wrong. Maybe the whole galaxy thinks it shouldn't happen. But I don't care." Jace slowly reached out and placed his hand over hers. His skin pulsed. His chest glowed. I gasped. A mark was appearing. On him, faint but growing. A mirror of hers far away. Inside the council's tech chamber, a priest screamed, "The human is changing." The bond had crossed the species divide, and was now rewriting his DNA. Back in the cave, Valari pressed her forehead to his. "Do you feel that?" She whispered. Jace. He nodded slowly. "It's like you're inside me now, your thoughts, your heart." They sat in silence as the bond wrapped tighter between them. Not just love merging. Mind to mind. Heart to heart. Then, it happened. A creature crawled out of the cave shadows. Long, sharp, glowing. Predatory. Var. I stood quickly, body shaking. The beast snarled and lunged. Jace moved before he could think, instinct taking over. And something strange happened. The moment danger appeared, his arms moved faster than any human should. He caught the creature mid-leap and threw it across the rocks. Valari stared in shock. "Jace, how did you do that?" He blinked at his hands. "I don't know." They didn't understand it yet, but their bond was doing more than connecting them. It was evolving them. Later that night, as they rested beside a small fire, Jace whispered, "They're going to come after us." Valari nodded. "They're scared of us?" She looked at him. "No, of what we might become together." Above them, satellites scanned. Ships were moving. The entire colony had activated high alert, but the message from the outer sensor post said something terrifying. "We can't find them anymore. It's like they disappeared." Because love had not just changed them, it had made them untraceable. Some said they died in the wilderness. Some believed they fled the planet. But the truth? They became legends. 3 cycles passed. No scans could locate them. No patrols returned with answers. The bond between Valari and Jace had grown so deep, so strong, it no longer belonged to just one species. It became something new. Deep within the crystal forests, hidden from satellites and seekers, they had built a small home, not with walls, But with each other, the cave had changed with them. Its walls glowed faint red now, as if the stone itself responded to their bond. Plants grew faster where they stepped. Animals no longer feared them. Something in nature had accepted their connection because it was real. VLAR. I sat near the entrance. Her hand over her belly. It glowed softly. Jay stood beside her, hand resting over hers. Are you scared? She asked. Yes, he whispered, but not of them anymore. Then of what? Of how much I love you. News finally broke through the stars. A merchant drone passing through uncharted zones had picked up a pulse, a faint signal reading two unique biosignatures. One alien, one human. The signal was encrypted. But the pattern matched an ancient forbidden code. Soul match, harmonized. It meant total fusion, complete connection. A bond once thought impossible. Back on the colony, panic turned to debate. If a human and an alien could truly merge like this, what else could be possible? Cure diseases? End war? Create life beyond genetic limits? The council met again. But this time, they were not shouting. They were afraid. Not of the bond, but of hope. Because hope changes everything. Months later, a young alien girl in a remote village woke up with her soulmate mark glowing for the first time. She ran outside, crying tears of joy. But what stunned the villagers most was this. She hadn't touched one of her own. She had only passed a human trader in the street. The impossible was happening again. Back in the forest, Valari and Jace stood side by side, looking out at a planet that once hated their love. Now, it whispered their names like a prayer. Do you think they'll accept us one day? She asked. Jace smiled, pulling her close. They won't have a choice. We're already part of the story. She laughed softly. No. We're the start of a new story. And far above them, in the black silence of space, a forgotten satellite recorded a simple image. Two figures holding hands beneath glowing trees. Two glowing marks beating as one. And a single message sent into the stars. Love isn't limited by species. It only needs a spark.